Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. The stock market is open. It is Monday, so you already know we are taking a look at the account. We're making some trades. We're looking at the cash we have available. We had a bunch of positions end up expiring worthless on Friday. And so we just have a lot that's going on in the account. The market is still feeling super frothy. So let's take a look at what we're doing, the plays I made today, some of the plays we made on Friday, and what we have going on. But first things first, let's take a look at the account history. No smoke in the mirrors. We show full transparency here, as we have since we had this account over at $80,000. So if you like the content, don't forget to drop a like. If you're not subscribing, I don't know what you're doing. We're taking these accounts to the moon. Join the team. So let's go down here and let's take a look at from last week, right? We had a couple of short hood put rolls. We had a bunch of expirations. We sold some ETH puts, we sold some TSLL puts, we sold some MSTX puts, and then we started booking some gains on TSLL, and then we sold some more hood puts at the 93 strike. Hood ended up getting put into the S&P 500, which you guys probably saw if you're following the market on Friday after close. And so what I've been doing this morning is I sold some shares for a profit. I sold some calls at another range that I'm okay letting shares go. And then I also closed a bunch of hood puts in other accounts and booked the profit there because there's really no reason to leave options out if they're 95+% super early. We sold some call puts, bought to close some ETH puts, sold some more ETH puts. And then you can see on Friday, we just had expiration after expiration. So our ETH 116s expired, our Hood 100s, which we were trying to get assigned on, expired, our Hood 95s expired, our MSTX expired, and we had 5 contracts there. And then what we did this morning is we went into MSTR and we did a trade all the way for 1010, so a month out. But it allowed the stock a lot of room to come down, over 20% fallback if we were to go in the money. So I think it's 24% or so when I was looking at it. So the stock has to drop 24% in the next month. And so I wanted to throw that one out there rather than all the MSTX plays that I've been playing. We're just doing one on MSTR, especially if I can get it at 250. And then I sold some hood puts this morning. I sold some hood shares this morning, booked some massive profits after the huge gain on the day. Stock's up about 15%. And we took that money, we threw it straight into the Roth, right? So you can see this $1,000 contribution there. And so that brings us to what, $3,000 for the year? Yeah, so we're at $3,000 for the year. We're going to max it out like we do every single year. Obviously, we maxed it out in 2024. We maxed out in 2023. And then in 2022, Robinhood didn't have options. So we didn't have any money here back in 2022. So we've just been slowly scaling that. We're going to continue to scale that up and we're going to continue to add money. But let's take a look at the account. We are at a new all-time high as of right now. We are sitting at 170,735. Which is absolutely just mind-blowing to me, just thinking about, I mean, if you go back to the start of the year where we were sitting at and where we're sitting at now, we have buying power of 47,000, so we have a lot of cash available. We even have some puts that we could close out here. So let's take a look at it. For the day, we're up about $1,155. For the week, we are up $26.71 or 1.59%. For the month, up 3%. 3 months, 13%. Year-to-date, up 28.6% to $37,000, almost $38,000. 1 year up 79.92% or 75,000. And then all time since we moved this account over in 2023, we are up 86, almost 87,000 or 103%. So not too bad for just your average Joe selling cash secure puts, covered calls, and just wheeling and dealing each and every single week. So that's where we're sitting in the account, 170,000. You guys know our goal was 159,000 by the end of the year. We smashed that. We moved the goal to 175,000. And now we're getting closer and closer to that. The market seems super frothy. And what I mean by that is, even when you come in here and you look, we have lots of 52-week highs, which is good to see, but it just tells you the market's super frothy. Google, 52-week high. And then you come down here and you look at the fear and greed index, right? We're sitting at 66.4. So super greedy. Sentiment is super bullish. And when you look at this, you got to check yourself and you got to see whether you think it's worth it to continue to ride shares to the moon, whether you think that we're going to have a pullback. September is known for having massive sell-offs, so we got to keep that in mind. But we're looking at the fear and greed index sitting at the 66.5 and seeing where we're sitting. So back to the account, $47,000 worth of buying power. Now, what this means to me is I need to sell some puts, but today the market opened pretty green. And so for me, I'm probably not selling any puts today unless I see some massive pullbacks. One thing I might sell puts on is TSLL, currently down about 1.78%, or Tesla, I should say. I could sell it on that as well. We have the capital to sell it on that. So if I see some nice pullbacks, I'll probably enter into some puts. But for the most part, I'm chilling for right now. We sold the MSTR put for a month out today. And then I'm looking at potentially closing out some other puts. And why do I want to do that? Well, we have stuff like this, right? Like we look at this hood put. This is down to $7. So I would leave the risk open for the entire week to only make an extra, $5, $6, $7. Now, will hood go to 93? Absolutely not. They just have too much going on right now. They're probably going to be announcing some banking stuff this week. They have a massive conference out in Vegas, and I don't see it happening. But that being said, smart money says 95, 96% on an option that you sold on Friday. You should probably close that out. So we'll probably end up closing that one out. ETH, similar picture here, right? We sold this on Friday as well. We're up 72% or $224 on seriously just the morning trade, right? So there's a couple $100 right there. And then we have the MSTX out at the 16. We have the TSLs out at the 10. These ones are similar too. These ones are almost done. These are down to 0.02, right? So we're already 85% of the way on profit there. Connell puts at the 22. MSTX puts at the 9. MSTR put up $70 already on that one from this morning. And then the TSLLs, you guys saw me sell those back on 7.9 or something like that back in July. And we're up about $1,500 between those two. So that's where we're sitting as of right now in the account. Lots of cash, new all-time high. Account is absolutely ripping. And so we have to keep things balanced, and we don't want to put on risk where we don't need to put on risk. So for now, I'm chilling. If I see pullbacks, of course, I'll be alerting in the Discord. Of course, I'll be alerting on X. And I'll try to share those plays that I see. Maybe they'll work out. Maybe they won't work out. But I try to share it. Full transparency as always. And then every single week we review it here. So I'll be looking to make some moves. I'll be looking to close some cash secured puts. And we'll probably have 70-ish or so $1,000 to get rocking and rolling with this week. And then we're just going to continue to push as we go towards that $175,000 balance. That being said, let's take a look at the spreadsheet. If we jump in here to the Roth, every single play we've made the entire year, the list is actually getting pretty long. So it's crazy to see. But you can see we are super put heavy. I have a lot of cash in the account, and we're selling lots of cash secured puts. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm just trying to showcase, the nice, easy, simple approach in this. We're not hitting any home runs. We're just hitting single base hits each and every single week. And we're trying to build up these balances. And then once we get the balances built, we'll start getting into some crazy stuff. But that's where we're at for right now. Where we're looking at for the year, well, let's look. This month, we started at 167. We obviously deposited $1,000 this month. Last month, we deposited $2,000. We've already made $1,247 worth of options income. And that came in on the first week, $847. So far this week, the $400 that you saw on the MSTR play. So really, I need to collect another $500 this week to be on pace with where I want to be. And I think we can get that done. 37 weeks into the year, we're averaging $914 a week when it comes to options income. Average capital in use is $134,132, and we're returning just under 0.7 return percent a week. So not too bad, right in the zone where I want it to be. 1% we're getting a little too risky. 0.5% we're probably not getting enough juice out of it, especially when we're in a bull run. So that's where we're sitting as of right now. And this is a goal for this month. So 3,014, we have 1,767 left to hit the 2% base case. 3% base case puts us at just under 5,000. So we need about, 3,600 left to hit that. And then if we went to the 4% bull case, then we're talking $7,000, which for me, I'm going to have to put on way too much risk to go 4% in a month. And that's just me personally. How are we looking for the options income goal? Well, we've been slamming everything, right? We slammed our $159,000 goal. That's done. The only one we have left is the potential annual income, which would be at the 2% base case of 34,509. We're at 33,822. So really in the next week, as long as we trade decently, we should be able to hit that goal too. And once that's done, we have hit every single goal that we set at the start of the year. And it's a good milestone. So something worth celebrating. And the account just keeps ripping, right? So we're at 170,751 when I started the video. And we're just building. So we need about 589 left a week this month in order to hit the base case goal of the 3,014. We've already hit the 159,000. We're working towards 175,000. We're 4,200 away or so. So we're about 97.5% of the way there. And then let's come down here to the annual options. We're 98% of the way there. We need 687, which we should be able to do in less than a week. And then Q1, 12,281, Q2, 10,168, Q3 already at 11,373. Now we still have a couple weeks left on this, but it's going to be possible to hit 12,000 or even set a new record high for Q3, and I think we can get it done. Average of those is 11,274. So if we're able to replicate what we've been doing all year long, we're looking at about $45,000 worth of options income. Now you may look at that and be like, well, what does that mean? What it means is this is an IRA. This is something that you can only contribute to. For example, this year, $7,000. And so I was able to add $45,000 worth of contributions tax-free, and that can now grow, and I can continue to trade on, and I can continue to snowball with, all from trading options. That's the power of what we're doing. And I hope you guys see that as you snowball these. You've seen it with the mini account series, which, spoiler alert, hit 20 bands today. We took it from 10K to 20K in 8 months. Or 9 months, I should say, but really 8 months because we're at the start of this month. But that's the power of what you can do, and you can snowball these, and every single week you can slowly get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and we just keep building the balance. So 175,000, we're 71% of the way there. We need just over $4,000 left to get that done. But I want to take a look at the projections so that you guys can see what we're talking about here. So at this balance, right, this is what 2.5% a month starts looking like, right? 4268 is what we can do. Then the next month you snowball that in, all of a sudden you have 175,000 and you can do 4385. Then the next month you have 180,000, you're at 4505, right? And you can just see over the years, just looking at where we're at now, we were looking at September of next year, we could be potentially sitting at a $235,000 balance, and options income that month would be roughly around 5,800. So that's the power of what we're doing. You don't notice it month over month, but all of a sudden you go from making $2,000 a month to $3,000 a month to $4,000 a month, and then you're pushing $6,000 a month, right? Now, of course, this is pie in the sky. All things have to go right. You know, the market has to keep cooperating. Cash secure puts have to keep expiring worthless, right? You have to trade right. You have to find stocks that you actually want to own. All those little caveats, but this is the power of what we're doing. You guys have been seeing me do this since this account was at $80,000. We more than doubled it up. And we're just going to continue hustling each and every single week. We're going to continue taking opportunities that we see, and we're going to continue growing. So I hope your guys' accounts are absolutely killing it. I hope you are enjoying trading. I hope you're learning a little bit from what I do each and every single week. Hopefully it gives you some ideas to be more aggressive, less aggressive, find stocks that you didn't know about. Or I just hope it sparks a little bit of interest in investing. But I appreciate everybody, as always, all the loyal supporters that come in each and every single week. They watch my videos, they like, they comment, they support, they talk to me on X at Dark Miner, and I appreciate you guys. So happy investing, and we'll catch you next video.